Hello and welcome to The Spirit Safe. My name's Rob. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. You'll notice there's a different backdrop today because I'm in Victoria for the Victoria Whisky Festival, and I've got to say I was completely unprepared for how epic this thing was going to be. We're about halfway through now. I promise I'm not drunk. But I arrived yesterday. We went to the Victoria Caledonian Brewery and Distillery, where they brew beer and make whiskey. They've not got any aged product yet because it's only been open for a year and a half. But they are making beers, and I tried some of their beers. They're branded as Trois Dogs. It's owned by Graham McAloney and Mike Nicholson, who was the former master distiller at Lagavulin. They tried to sell me a cask. My wife said, "Don't buy any bottles." And there was serious discussion about actually buying a cask while we were there, and I don't think I'd have really gotten away with that one. Later, I went to a tasting, which was supposed to be the Canadian Rockies distillery, but they weren't able to get all of the product. So we had one whiskey from Canadian Rockies, which is a 35-year-old, originally distilled as tractor fuel, apparently. 35 years ago, and put in a bourbon barrel, fortunately, rather than a metal drum. And that was very, very interesting. I'm not big up on my Canadian whiskies, so I'm still learning. So because they didn't have the Canadian product, they loaded us up with a 25-year-old Tullibardine and single cask examples from Cavalan and Amrut, and a 100% Islay Kilchoman. So things that actually quite difficult to get hold of. Very, very interesting. I'm glad I went along to that. And then after we had dinner, I was invited to a party at a house which was being rented by some of the reps who travelled to Victoria for the festival. I ended up drinking a 40-year-old Scotch whisky out of a red solo cup, hanging around with big hitters on the whiskey scene, people who are in charge of whiskey groups, and really, really good. Woke up with a bit of a stinky headache this morning, actually, and I had my first try of monkey shoulder as well, which people have been talking about rather a lot. And then this morning I attended the classic malts with Diageo, asked them lots of awkward questions about chill filtration and stuff. One of the big things that we've been talking about a lot, the festival participants, is about a recent seizure by the BC Liquor Board of a load of Scotch Malt Whisky Society bottlings from local bars and restaurants in BC, which was done a day or so ago, just in time for the festival. So for those not familiar with the Canadian or the BC system for liquor, the restaurants have to order through the liquor board. Everything that the restaurant has in stock has to be on a sheet, so it has to have come from the liquor board, and it has to be standard liquor board fare. Whereas retail stores can say to the BC Liquor Board, we want to import this, we want 2 cases of this. It comes through the liquor board. Obviously, it costs a lot. It costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. But they have the flexibility to get in those single cask bottlings, for example. The restaurants, even though the tax has been paid on the whiskey, because it didn't come through the liquor board, they were saying that it's basically contraband, illegal product, and it had to be seized, and they're awaiting whatever decision is made by the liquor board. So there was a buzz around the place, and I sense a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of rebellion in the air. There's certainly a lot of ill feeling about the precipitous action that the BC Liquor Board took. I tend to keep politics off the channel, but I'm just gauging the feeling. Nobody's had anything nice to say about the BC Liquor Board since I arrived here. So later I've got a bourbon tasting, and then a big consumer tasting. I'm hoping to meet what's his name now? Foodquig. Hoping to meet Foodquig during or before that tasting session. So it'll be very, very exciting. I've had an absolutely tremendous time so far. I was unprepared for, as I say, how epic it would be. I was unprepared for how friendly and welcoming everyone would be. Anybody who can get to the Victoria Whisky Festival, I wholeheartedly recommend it. I've been to whisky festivals and tastings and events before, but really, this is, I always feel like we're a long way away from Scotland. We're a long way away from where all the choice and activity is. But then you come to something like this, and you really feel like you've arrived at home. Okay, I don't have a glass to cheers with, but thank you very much for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.